Time now is 11:23 a.m. on April 12th. April 11th. Yeah. I slept from 5:25. I went to bed at 5:10 though. 5:15. And I slept from that to 11:10. 6 hours is not that bad, but I just feel like shit. I thought I had more time to sleep, but not really actually. I can actually go back to sleep for a bit more later. Yeah. So today I'm just meeting with TA3 for 2 hours, and then I'll go home for a bit, and then I'll go back to school. At around 5 or 5:30, there's gonna be the reception for Cam's Fest, so I'll just be there. There's gonna be free food, so I have to be there, and then yeah, and then there's the Cam's Fest, so there's that. Excited for it, excited to see the World's Not Enough premiere. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was a little bit disappointed last night because Jiren saw my trailer and didn't like it. But then all these people like Katie and Matt, even Vivian also liked my trailer. I don't know. Maybe Jiren just doesn't think much of me? Oh wow. I don't know. I don't know. I shouldn't overthink this, but she kind of just disappeared. I almost forgot that we don't actually know each other that much. We've had about 7 conversations, but I don't know, we're not that close actually. I want to actually sit down and have a cup of coffee with her or something. Damn. Okay. I have a bunch of random small things to follow up to. HKOS, Spotlight, CTPR 290, Hotel Shoot, ALI. I watched half a movie last night, so I finally watched something. Yeah, and also Ariel texted me yesterday saying that she wants to be an actress. Like she's switching lanes from AD to acting. And asked me to keep her name in my mind, and I'm like, yeah, sure. So that's pretty funny and cool, I guess.
Where ya?
Hey. What the hell?
All right, welcome to our 2020.
Hello, friends. I made this movie, Blue Crush.
The Thetan, which is simply operating your physical body. Do you feel as though there are any problems preventing you from accessing the true nature of your spirit?
Well, I guess.
Thank you. Okay, hi everyone, my name is Enoch, and I know, once again, they have placed my film as the last film, so for all of you who are about to fall asleep, please stay awake for this film. I want to say that I made this film last year summer because my parents told me that they're planning to sell my apartment, our apartment, to fund my tuition for this school. And I just want to say that education shouldn't be this expensive. And I think it's really sad that especially under the new administration, especially with the state of things right now, that things are only going to get more and more expensive, and it's going to be tougher and tougher economically for everyone. And I think it's sad that this school has to abide by these new rules. So yeah, shout out to that music over there. Please enjoy. Don't follow the 3-act structure. It's very bad. Film production students need to take notes. We're better.
Oh, Enoch, you have a box as well. All right, and for our next award is the Faculty Award, presented by none other than CAM's faculty and royalty, JD Connor.
Thank you. Okay.
I'm the only faculty member here.
La La Land. Wait, no, that's not right. That's not right. Actually, Sweet Farewell, you guys won. I'm being so serious. Sweet Farewell.
Holy fuck, that's a big one. That's a big one. Fucking hell. Fuck. Okay, time now is 11:23 p.m. I haven't had dinner. Fuck. I should have dinner right now, but just want to quickly talk about today first. Wow. Intriguing day indeed. Intriguing indeed. So, where do I begin? I guess this morning woke up, had breakfast, my apple strudel croissant things got moldy, 3 of them, so I tossed out, I had 3 left, 2 got moldy, so I ate 1. I'm okay, I'm not food poisoned. And then I tried to finish Ratcatcher, didn't finish it. And then I went over to Levy Library to meet with TA3. We're both pretty much on time. Together, we arrived at the Levy Library at around 2:08 p.m. And then we did our thing for about 1.5 hours. We did some rehearsal for his probably final presentation. And then we watched 20 more minutes of The Holdovers, and then we couldn't finish it. And also, I want to go home early. So, I went back home. So here's the thing. I was really choosing between staying at school all the way from the ALI meeting all the way to Cam's Fest and then go home at night. And then I realized, oh yeah, I need to have dinner. And for a moment I thought free food would be a thing at Cam's Fest, but turns out there isn't any free food. It wasn't like last year. Last year it was really well organized and there's a lot of promotion, and this year there was barely any promotion. And yeah. So there's that. You know, I should go down and make dinner first. I feel like on an empty stomach I can't speak too well. I'll be quick. So, yeah. Fuck. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So I went back home and I had lunch, and the food was, Trader Joe's ready-made spaghetti. For a moment, I thought we ran out of water. I panicked a little bit. Thank God we didn't run out of water. But the filter is like not really working. But I'm still drinking it, which is bad. I shouldn't be. And then and then I watched a little bit more Ratcatcher and then left. And then Ethan Kwan randomly DM'd me saying, could you give me the gimbal back just for tonight? Because I need it for a shoot. And I'm like, sure. And he was like, can you bring it to this random address on Portland Street sometime between 6 to 7? And I'm like, I can't do that because I have an event tonight. And he's like, oh yeah, Camps Fest. So can you bring it to me at Gateway? And I'm like, sure. So I was like, okay, I'll be there before 5 p.m. And then I missed a 4:50 bus. And then I was going to walk over there, but then I realized walking from my place to Gateway is fucking insane. Like, I don't know how am I going to do that. So I decided to wait for the bus, and that took a very long. I walked, and then halfway through the walk, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll just wait for the bus. And then at that point, if I wait for the bus and go all the way to Gateway, I will arrive there at around 5:38 p.m. So there's supposed to be a reception for Cam's Fest, and that starts at 4:30, and then from 5 to 6 p.m. it's like, you know, the pre-show, you know, taking photos, whatever. So I thought I don't want to miss the reception because there's probably free food, but turns out I missed a whole bunch of it anyways. But it's like fine because I believe no one showed up at the reception. So anyways, Ethan Kwan was like, what's your ETA? And I was like, 5:38. And he's like, you know what, let's meet at the main entrance of USC. And I'm like, that's even better. So I took the gimbal, walked all the way to USC main entrance, and I literally saw bus 38 arriving at the main entrance the same time I have. So I could have just waited for the bus, hop onto it, and then get there, and it would still be just the same. So I gave Ethan Kwan the gimbal, and then I walked over to Norris, and boom, it's Camps Fest. And goddamn, that tonight was a good night. For a moment, I thought I'm achieving great success and stuff. Like I don't know. I just this is crazy. Like I feel very successful tonight. What the hell? So I arrived and I immediately saw Audrey, who was working there, and I was like, hey, and I asked her about the reception, and she's like, yeah, you can go, but it's probably nothing. Like, there's probably nothing there anymore. So I walked all the way to SCA, went up to the 3rd floor, and went into the CAM's office, and then there's like nothing in there. And then Ryan Turf, the guy who's supposed to be the academic advisor for us CAM students last year, he showed up and he's like, what are you looking for? And I was like, oh, is this Cam's Fest reception? And he's like, oh, they moved. So I'm like, okay. So I walked all the way back to Norris Theater, and that's when a bunch of people started showing up. Like Hugh was there, Hugh Vo. I'm just saying people's last names at this point. And then eventually Matt showed up. So when I saw Matt, I was like, okay, now I know for sure that most of us filmmakers didn't even attend the reception, let alone the pre-show or whatever. Matt showed up, we talked, and then eventually Cheyenne showed up, and then their other friend, his name is Joshua, showed up, and they took photos together, and they're deadpan, and they're cool. And that was so fashionable, he was wearing a suit, and like sunglasses, and I considered that actually. I wore a white shirt and like magenta pants, and then I was gonna wear black leather shoes, and then I walked back home to change because I felt black leather shoes is a bit too much and it doesn't really match the style. I also forgot to bring the gimbal. Anyways, Cheyenne showed up, and holy shit, she's fashionable. She's wearing this like black lace silk dress, like a goth princess from the 1880s. And I was like, wow. Like, that's crazy. I should have gone harder with the way I dress. Jonathan showed up eventually. I'm so happy Jonathan's here, because otherwise I would not have anyone super close to me who can take videos of me. So yeah, and then more and more people eventually showed up, but unsurprisingly, no one showed up. As in, only about 30 to 40 people showed up for Camps Fest, and then halfway through, a bunch of people left. So, who else is in the audience? I think yeah, North was there because North's mockumentary is screening. And then I was a little bit bummed that none of the professors showed up. I wish the professors were there to see my film, but no. I wanted to brag, you know. Yeah, Colin showed up. Garrett also showed up. That was quite nice. Brandon, so the other twin, not Andrew, but Brandon. Brandon showed up and saw my film because he was one of the co-producers of Sweet Farewell, which is this Vietnamese American story. And then yeah, Avikai showed up. So yeah. So we watched the films, and yeah, I can tell because the promotion's really bad and the trailer is really bad. Avikai told me he edited the trailer and he made the sped up part at the end, and I told him I didn't like it. And he's like, "Oh, sorry about that." Yeah, so we watched the films, and there are only 8 films. So the first section has 5 films, and the second section has 3 films. The first film is called My Brother in Christ, and it's a 2-minute comedy about a frat boy who's partying who saw a vision of Jesus. There's like no story. It doesn't end, like it doesn't have any point to it. It just felt like meaningless. It just felt like some meme, and Hugh was the DP for that. And some other girl wrote and directed it, and it was okay, and that's it. I just wasn't that impressed with it. And then they played Matt's Blue Crush Angels, which is this amazing sort of mixed media, glitchy, digital, post-internet, post ironic love story about parasocial relationships. It's really beautiful and glitchy, and it was amazing. It was mesmerizing. This is my first time seeing it on a big screen, but I've seen it before. But it's my first time watching it the whole way through. And I'm like, wow, it's just style, really. And then we saw this film called Felicitas, and it's a black girl. Her name is Tomoko. And, but I think she's like half Filipina. And it's a sweet little documentary about her grandma, who is Filipina, and just her farming and what she thinks about racism. It's all right. I don't know. It's sweet, but it's not necessarily anything that great. Then they screened Joshua's film, who is close friends with Matt and Cheyenne, and his film is really interesting. This is his 290, and it's really long, and it started off like a David Lynch film. It's called Eyeless in Gaza, but it's not really about Gaza. It's about a USC student kind of being radicalized, but also doing very pro-Israel things. And at first it starts off like a nightmare with like flashing lights, and then it's like a dream sequence, and then we have the actual meat of the story, which is pretty standard: shot, reverse shot, bad sound. I'm surprised. I thought his films would be like way more high production value, but no, it was very low production value. Like the coloring was off and the sound was not that good. Um, but there's a story in there, and it's about this Indian American guy who's so good at engineering that he got an internship at Raytheon Technology, which is this company that builds missiles and bombs for Israel. And he kind of becomes radicalized, and he learns about war on Bangladesh and genocide in Bangladesh, and he starts questioning his parents. But then his parents manage to convince him to continue with the internship. It's pretty interesting, but it's also like something's missing, but it's also pretty interesting. And then it ends with crazy experimental epileptic stuff. And I thought it's pretty cool. And then they screen Cheyenne's The Auditor, which is, as expected, fucking amazing. And she didn't win any awards even so. It's foreboding, it's atmospheric, it's mysterious. Damn. And seeing Cheyenne like speak in front of a whole crowd, and she's like, this film is about my experience, and she talks about her background, her grandma, her great grandmother is one of the founders of Scientology, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, it's interesting. And then it's intermission, and I got to speak with a bunch of people. Colin showed up, so I was like, hey Colin, I saw you caught in 4K. But they left, so a lot of people started leaving because it's too late. And that made me sad, because my film is at the very end. And then, talked to Hugh and Brandon a little bit, and then I talked to just a bunch of people, really. And then the second half of the festival we have. So at that point, there were only about 30 people left. There's Audrey from my trio, who also showed up to watch. It's pretty, not a lot of people showed up, unfortunately. I wish more people showed up. Because my film is made for the big screen, really. Even though on the big screen you can see every minute mistake, and you can hear every minute mistake as well. But I do believe it's made for the big screen. So, next film is North's mockumentary called Left Behind, and it sucks. I hate to say this, North seems like a nice person, but goddamn, I think it sucks because the DP is Leslie. But it's a mockumentary, so it's a lot of like natural, handheld, just zooming in, and it's like, I don't know what did she really do for this short film, but cool. And it's this very weird documentary about this guy who is arrogant, asshole, who wants to be a great football player, and his football coach hates him, and it's like funny, but it's not that funny actually. But I was surprised to see that Leslie was credited as DP, but here she is, sinking her nails into every corner of Los Angeles film schools. I forgot to mention that Leslie got into Chapman film production. Congrats, but also I don't fucking care. Besides, she doesn't have a car, so congrats. You just imprisoned yourself in Orange County. Good luck trying to get out. And then we saw Sweet Farewell, and it's a very 310 flavored film. There's a shop that sells Vietnamese dessert, and there's a girl who's the main character, and this uncle, and their relationship is not that great in the beginning, and then their shop is threatened by evil capitalist guy who loves money, and then they bond, and then that's it. And it's shallow focus, handheld, you know the drill. And it's written and directed by someone who's in film production. But it's in here because Hugh is also the DP. It looks pretty good. Very nice color grading, by the way. Warm, film student color grading, basically. The same shit happens to my shorts, so I ain't complaining. Sound is not that good. But yeah, and then they play my film, and I don't even see it as a film because I've watched my own film so many times on Adobe Premiere Pro that when it played, I was just like, yeah, so this scene and then that happens and that happens. Like, I can't really enjoy it. I don't enjoy my own film because I'm just like, okay, then this and then that and this and that. And then the whole film ended, and yeah, people were clapping. My favorite moment is actually the ending where like MF Doom's Doomsday is playing, and then the main one of the characters suddenly disappear, and the whole crowd just goes ooh, and just like immediately quiets down because I think everyone's trying to leave. Everyone's like, oh, the festival's over, let's leave. But no, it's just sudden silence. So yeah, I forgot to mention that during the intermission I talked to Cheyenne a little bit. More on that later. So after that, the festival's not over because they have to present the awards, and then I did a little speech before the film, and I was way calmer this time because A, I think I know a lot of people in the audience already. B, there's not a lot of people watching. I think I did well. I just wish I looked better. But yeah, my film finished, and they started to present the awards. So there's the screening committee award committee, and then there's the faculty award, and then there's audience favorite. So they started with screening committee, and oh my god, I totally didn't expect this. When they announced it, and it's my film. I wish I could have filmed the moment of them saying it's my film because I didn't expect it. My film is like this really slow, confusing thing. Like, I don't expect anyone to enjoy it. They would just be like, oh, it's pretentious. But no. And so I just walked out, and I'm just like, oh my god, Matt and Cheyenne and Joshua and all these other people are in here, and I'm the one getting an award. So yeah. I got the award, and it's this fancy glass thing, and I'm just like, wow. I forgot what are the awards like last year, but they aren't that fancy, right? But anyways, I got the award, and it's this fancy glass thing, and I'm like, wow, it's real. And then someone handed it over to me, and I said thank you. And then I was gonna walk away, and they're like, oh, do you want to give a speech? And I'm like, oh, we have time for that? Okay. So I was totally unprepared. I didn't know what to say, so I was just like, don't follow the 3-act structure. It's bad. And people are laughing, and I'm like, film production students should take notes. And then people laughed, and then I was like, yeah, we're better. And then I just walked away. And then I realized, man, I could have said something meaningful. I should have thanked people. Also, people started saying Free Palestine. Like, Matt, at the end of his speech, said Free Palestine. So did Cheyenne. So, of course, Joshua did, and then North did. And I thought, oh, should I do it? But I feel like if I do it, I'm just following a trend. So I didn't do it. But at the end of my speech, I did mention how sad it is to see the school comply to the rules under our new administration. Especially because my film is about being broke. My film is made because I'm broke. And so I have to get into like financial hardships. Yeah. And then for the faculty favorite, they give it to Matt's film. So Matt and I won. Conveniently, the two people on the con team who submitted something, conveniently we both won. So we're good. We're good filmmakers, I guess. But yeah, I'm so happy you won. You know, it's a genuinely good film. And then for the audience favorite, of course, it's Hugh's Sweet Farewell, because there were so many people in the audience who have secretly worked on this project, and Hugh's parents were in the audience, or somebody's parents were in the audience. But anyways, after I finished accepting my award, one of the MCs, so there were 3 MCs. One of the MCs is this black guy. He was like, "Hey, are you Enoch? Did you make the sign for Summer's End?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, nice to finally meet you." And he fist bumped me. So I'm like, "Wow, okay, cool." So I wanted to speak to him. I was like, "Whoa, so he's in Summer's End?" And then a little bit later, after the awards complete, I talked to him, and he said his name's Reggie, and I'm like, "Oh, he's the freaking director of Summer's End." I had a phone call with him and everything. I texted him and everything, and then we talked, and then he later revealed that yes, the pickup day is happening next week, and I'm like, "What? But I'm not free next weekend." He later revealed that it's Friday, so I'm like, "Oh, maybe I'm free." So that's really cool. Jayun's not telling me. I don't know why. Okay, more on Jayun later. Okay. Wow. Everyone clapped. When I received my award, this other girl, she pointed at me, she's like, "I can totally see you getting an Oscar. I can totally see you getting an Oscar." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm not even going for an Oscar. I want a Palme d'Or. I don't want an Oscar. I mean, if I get an Oscar, that's cool, but like, it's not that. I want a Palme d'Or. Flashback to when I said goodbye to Severin, the director of Pit, and I was like, "I'll be there when you win a Palme d'Or." Not even Best Picture. Who cares about Best Picture? But yeah, and then people were just like coming up to me and saying, "Wow, your film's so good." Like people coming up to me and shaking my hand. There's this Taiwanese guy. His name is Ted, and we met on APCA web series episode 2. And he was like, "Wow, it's such a great film." And then another girl, like this white girl, approached me. She's like sophomore, and she's like, "Wow, it's such a great film. Like what are your influences?" or something like that. And then another guy, he said, "Oh, we meet like a whole year ago, but you probably don't remember me." That's crazy. Now, usually I remember people and people don't remember me, but now it's the other way around. Like I've gained such a strange status. He's like, "Oh, so he's a Thai guy. His name is Tool," and he asked me if Terrence Malick, Tree of Life, inspired me, and I'm like, "No," but I was inspired by Ivy Shopping Weird. That's so cool. And he's like, "Oh, I can tell." And then we talked a little bit, and then Matt said he liked my film. Matt was like, "Yeah, that was good." I also talked to Joshua a little bit. Joshua was like, "Oh yeah, that was a really good film," and I also complimented his film. And then Cheyenne also said that she liked my film. I was gonna ask her, "So what do you think of my film? You know, what do you think? You know?" No, Cheyenne was like, "Oh, I really like your film." Yeah, so during the intermission, Cheyenne, Colin, me, Matt, Garrett, a couple other people, grouped up in a circle and we just chatted a bit. It's so crazy. We are like CAM students, or not, Colin not anymore, but we are like the top tier at this point. We are the top tier CAM students, and I'm kind of in the circle, but not really. Colin and Cheyenne had totally forgotten that they were in a film with Colin. So that was great. So crazy to finally see Colin and Cheyenne together in the same space. Kind of trippy. But Cheyenne, like, I always imagine her like as this crazy psychotic person, but she is just like this soft-spoken, like she keeps smiling and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's a really great film, yeah." And I don't know, but she is crazy though. I can sense that, but she is so soft-spoken, and she asked me how long it took me to film The World's Not Enough, and I was like 3 days. Because for her film, The Auditor, it took 3 hours. It took me 3 days to film my thing, man. And yeah, people were like just coming up to me. People were DMing me, like Avihai DM'd me. I ran into Arwen, this Chinese girl who did associate producing for Locke, and and the fucking the overnight shoot from last year, a whole year ago, and she was there, and then she later DM'd me. She's like, "Oh, you are the young Tai Ming Liang." I'm like, that's crazy. I only saw one film from Tai. But he's like, "Oh, you're like young Tai Ming Liang. You know, let me know if you want to produce something. Let me know if you need a producer." And then people were coming up to me saying that they want to collab, and other MCs, they came up to me, like this guy, his name is Ulysses, and he's like, I'm like fanboying right now, and I'm like, why? What? And I'm just trying to ask them for their Instagrams, but I didn't, because I'm like a celebrity now. Why would I ask them for their Instagrams? They should ask me. But I did ask for Reggie's Instagram, and I finally got Cheyenne's Instagram, even though I literally know her Instagram already. But I still pretended that I don't. And she's like really nice. So she's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll have your Instagram, yeah." It's so trippy. And Jonathan is kind of outside, but I keep mentioning him. Yeah. So there's that. And then this girl, she's like, "Oh, I thought she's like an Annenberg media reporter." Because she immediately asked me and Cheyenne for our Instagrams. And then I was like, "Are you going to interview me?" And she's like, "Oh, no. But if you want." And I'm like, "What?" So she's in 150, CTCN 150, which is Reality Starts Here. And it's super duper intro film class. And she needs to film and interview and talk about intersectionality. So we left the theater, and in front of a wall, she just asked me some simple questions in about 3 minutes, like, what's your name, what's your film about, and how is it about intersectionality. So I'm like, what? I don't know, I'm Asian and I'm financially struggling there. But yeah, wow, I feel famous tonight. What the heck? A lot of people like my Instagram stories. People like Xiao Bang, the Chinese woman who does sound, and then Andrew Wu also DM'd me and was like, "Oh, I wish I could be there." And Colin, like, responded to my story. So Colin left halfway through. Colin and Garrett, because they're going to watch Possession at Pasadena, of course. Yeah, but it was crazy. And then Jonathan drove me home, and then we talked even more in the car. And Jonathan was like, "Yeah, you are one of the few people in my life who I think will eventually become really successful." And I'm like, "What, really?" Because I've been thinking a lot about that lately. Like, what if this is the most I can achieve? Like, what if I'll never break past this point, you know? But yeah. It's crazy too, like, when I was given the award, the girl who presented it to me, I think her name is Sophia, she was like saying all these, like, she was like, "Oh, I'm giving this award to Enoch for his bold use of like breaking the narrative structure and nostalgia and something like that." And I wish it is filmed because it's like very sweet words. Yeah, wow, so crazy. So yeah, fuck. I hope the world's not enough get into awards and shit. Why did Ying Chi reject it? They don't get it. But yeah, not much else. So, I'm gonna eat some dinner now. I'm hungry, and it's so crazy that I'm on my way to make my 11th short film, and The World Is Not Enough is only my 8th. So literally, I have 3 more ready in the canon, and a lot of people don't even know that. And a lot of people don't even know that I'm switching genres. I'm like unpredictable. I'm an unpredictable artist, you know? It's so crazy. And also the Thai guy was like, "Oh, your pronunciation of this guy's name is really good." I don't know. Man. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh my god, it's nearly midnight. Um uh Um, yeah, on track to getting the Palme d'Or. You know, I got The World Is Not Enough. I won an award, and then Matt also liked my film. Like he gave a heart. He gave a like on Letterbox. I didn't give a like to his film because I thought, ooh, you know. But no, he gave a like, so I just liked him back. Um, yeah. Wow. I even told Cheyenne about how I was trying to guess which script is hers for the hotel shoot. Um, but she's so nice though. What? Doesn't compute. Nice people exist. Yeah, so Jaehyun, she saw my Instagram stories and she didn't like them. Which shouldn't be about. Like, it shouldn't bug me, but like everyone's liking them, but Jaehyun isn't. And I have two theories. One is Jaehyun suddenly hates me, suddenly thinks I'm corny. The other is Jaehyun likes me a lot and she doesn't want to like my stories because it's too obvious. But the truth is, neither of these theories are probably true because these theories are both very extreme. She either hates me or she likes me so much. She's probably just too busy. I don't know what Jaehyun thinks of me, and I don't want to care too much either. But thank God I ran into Reggie Compton tonight, and he gave me the precious info that we're filming on Friday. So I'll be making some room for that. Yeah, that's it. God damn it. Okay, time now is 9:52 a.m. in the morning on April 13th, I think. 12th. I slept from 6:15 to 9:50 just now. 3.5 hours of sleep. Love it. Yeah, just the reason why I slept so late is because from 2 a.m. onward till like 5, I watched the JoJo Day live stream. And that occupied my whole night, so I didn't really watch a film. I did finish a film yesterday, but I didn't watch anything more beyond that. I didn't edit too much beyond that either. I did edit a couple of reviews. But yeah, fuck. And I was crazy enough to immediately edit my reaction. So last night they announced Steel Ball Run, the anime, and I was crazy enough to immediately import videos into my laptop, and then edit my reaction. So yeah. So of course I'm super tired. Another thing that's happening is right now the CAN team branding Zoom meeting. I'm planning to go back to sleep after the Zoom, so I thought to myself, might as well do the Zoom on my phone while I'm still in bed. Might as well. So I'm gonna just do that, really. Because I want to go back to sleep for at least an hour after this. Oh man, that's tough. I can't really go back to sleep until Monday. So, yeah. I can't really sleep in until Monday. Yeah, today I'm also going to be hanging out with Michelle and watch a film together, so that's gonna be fun, but I'm so tired. I still haven't bought the plane ticket actually, because last night at around 4 a.m. I started doing research on plane tickets again, and then I'm like, yeah, it's too late, so I'll buy tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna buy like later. Yeah. That's it. Oh my god, I look bad for the Zoom. I'm gonna try to keep my video off. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
How it worked out because
Like it's such
U.S.
a.
anticipated dismantled
What the hell are you doing?
そういうことされてる。だけやったらないですよ。だから命令で、小泉さんの軍の命令で、命令。
People alone here. Seemed incredibly timely. Don't talk much, I'm sorry. And I was deeply moved by the film because I live in a world, I keep asking myself, what happens when crime goes unpunished? What happens when people are allowed to commit crimes and there is no retribution, no accounting, no punishment, no nothing? What does that do to the world? What does it do to society? What does it do to people living in that society? And I would submit nothing good. And that's the world we live in. In any way, I congratulate you on making a truly great film. Thank you so very, very much. Not sure I like questions.
You're fine.
How has this film changed for you over the years?
ですね、映画が完成して、映画が完成して、彼は映画の中で罪を犯して、刑務所に入ります。12年間刑務所の中にいました。で、刑期を終えて出てきて、でシャワで大体10年ぐらい行ってるのかな。そして亡くなって、で亡くなって10年ぐらい経つわけです。でしばらく彼が生きてる間はもう彼のことを考えるとですね、こう動悸がするんです私。で彼が亡くなって10年経ってからやっと平成に彼のことをそしてこの映画のことについて考えることができるようになったんです。
So at the end of this film, as we all saw, he is in prison for 12 years. And after that, he's out for another 10 years until his death. And at the time when he was still alive, I had a lot of just empathy for him and a connection to him. But now that it's been 10 years since his death, and then watching this, that I have a bit more, a different perspective, more of acceptance of everything that happened versus that much more empathy.
映画ってつまりドキュメンタリーとフィクションという分かれてますけれども、その境目をいかにして超えるべきかっていう議論が日本では、90年頃ですね、盛んになったりで、冷静にこの映画のことについて考えるようになってから私もこの映画はフィクションなのか ロンフィクションだったのかって考えるようになって、で10年間ずっと今もそのことについて考えています。
Now, especially in the 90s in Japan, it was really popular to have the discussion of documentary versus fiction. Where is that line between documentary and fiction? And now watching this, I'm much more level-headed, reflecting on it. And so for the last 10 years, I've been asking myself, which part is fiction, which part is non-fiction? Where is that line?
もう一つ言えば、奥崎さんがもし今も生きてればこんな風に映画を鑑賞しているという静かに冷静な気持ちで鑑賞しているということはできなかったんだ。だから不思議な気持ちです。
And also, it's really interesting to imagine if Okazaki-san was still alive. I bet he would not have just listened to everything with a level head at all, knowing him. So that's something I've reflected on in the last 10 years since his death.
もし生きてれば言うに決まってます。
And I absolutely know that if he was still alive, he would have definitely been here right in front of you all and telling his story.
When I first saw it, I kept thinking this is an interviewer's dream. If only I could stop asking questions after a certain point and just get up and throttle my interview subject. The idea was incredibly appealing. Of course, I'll never do it because I'm a scaredy cat. But it was a fantasy.
私も実は臆病なんですよ。
I'm actually also a scaredy cat too.
だから映画の中で初めて奥崎さんが相手の兵士に対して殴りかかるとこあるじゃないですか。あれをですね、映画を見た人がなんで私が止めなかったのかっていう質問を受けるんですよ。
So there's that moment when Okazaki-san, physically attacks one of the former soldiers, and
Indeed.
and so people often ask me after watching the film, why didn't you hit her knee?
だからあの時は冷静な気持ちでカメラを回していたわけじゃなくて、目の前で暴力を振るうというシーンを初めて目撃してるわけですよ。そしてそれを撮影している。だからどうしていいかわからないんですよね。ただ私は自分でカメラを回しているので、この場面は記録としてとにかくカメラを回しておかなければいけないんだというだけで必死にカメラを回してた。
So most people might think I was calmly behind the camera filming, but that was actually the first time I had seen that kind of violence in my life right in front of me. And I didn't know what to do. But all I did know as a cinematographer that I had to be a witness to that moment.
The correct thing to do. Another referee trying to tell a story.
そしてね、もう一つ実はこの映画の中で描けなかったことがあるんですが、映画が始まって間もなく、映画3分の1ぐらいの頃に奥崎さんは次の自分のターゲットは、つまり天皇制という大きなターゲットを相手に要するに喧嘩を売るという生き方を選んでいる人ですからね。そのターゲット、天皇制に対して天皇制を壊すという目標を立ててたわけです。で、その人肉事件の責任者である元隊長さんに対して、つまり次のターゲットとして、彼は自分の中で決めるわけです。その隊長さんに対して自分は殺す決意をしたと。 で殺す場面をですね、原さんにぜひ撮影してほしいって彼に迫られたんです。でそれはその時だけカメラを持ってなかったので、その彼が私に対して殺しの場面を撮ってくれっていう映像はだからないわけです。
So, and to add, there's actually something I wasn't able to capture in the documentary. When we were about a third finished, Okazaki-san, and as a reminder, he really wanted to, really uproot the emperor and that whole, I guess, the leadership of the time. And he still had his eyes set on really destroying it. And as we saw, there were the upper rank soldiers who were behind like the cannibalism and everything. And so Okazaki-san did actually say, "I'm going to kill him." And he asked me, "Will you film it?" And I didn't have a camera at that time, in that moment, so I was not able to. So that was one thing that was not shot in the documentary.
Another thing different this time around. The first time he just seemed, Mr. Okazaki, he seemed batshit crazy. This time around, it seemed deeply principled. I hesitate to use the word heroic, but there's something about many of the scenes, a lot of the final scenes, is you see this shift back and forth between empathy and anger, which I also thought was extraordinary.
今ね、ミスターモリスが、指摘していただいたように、映画を作っている時庶民に対して庶民を下するために権力があるわけで、その権力に対して結果を売るということを突き詰めていった人でしょ。だから彼の言うことは冷静になって考えると彼の言ってることはかなり正しいというふうに私も思うようになりました。
So as Errol pointed out, when Okazaki-san, when we're shooting and then he's in prison, and I myself was in this very much wrapped up in my asthma and perhaps even a little bit depressed, and thinking about Okazaki-san, he really battled as a citizen, the greater power, right? He really battled it head on, and exactly, once you sit back and think about it with a level-headed perspective, you realize that what he was trying to achieve, what he was saying, was really the truth, and he was correct.
Yes. I always wonder, this is a perennial question. Speak the truth, right? Reveal the truth. Does it make the world a better place?
ただ我々はどこの国もそうですけれども、大きななんていうか権力を持っている人がいて、富裕層がいて、で階層、昔は差別って言ってましたけど、今階層に分かれてますよね。僕はなんていうか裕福に暮らせる人と貧乏人とに。で僕ら貧乏人だからね、どうしても貧乏人に対して共感を呼ぶようになってますね。で共感を持ってそういう体制、 貧富の差とか権力からその差別される人たちに対して共感を持つということが映画を作るということの原動力になってますからね、基本的にはね。だから宇崎さんに対しては私は基本的には共感を持って映画を作ってるわけですが、理論的に言うとね、実際に宇崎さんが一緒に動いてるとですね、もういつも私怒り叱るんですよね。前のその態度がダメだとか生き方がダメだとか、まず何よりも奥崎さんは自分のことを先生と呼んでほしいわけです。だけど先生ともし私が呼べば奥崎さんに対してお師匠さんに対して生徒あるいは弟子っていうのになるでしょう。先生に言うと聞かなきゃいけないことになるから、だからそれだけは絶対にしちゃいけないと思って先生というふうに呼ばなかったんです。奥崎さんはそれがどうも気に入らない。もっと自分のことを先生と呼んで、自分の言うことは何でも撮影しろっていうふうに要求してたわけです。そういう奥崎さんと私との、バトルというのが映画の裏側にあるわけです。
So, as you point out, in any country, there's going to be the powerful and the not powerful. Perhaps several generations ago we would call it segregation. Now it's class, the rich and poor. And, we just the regular citizens are not as perhaps powerful as the rich. And really developing the empathy throughout my filmmaking process is what motivates me and pushes me forward when I'm shooting. So in the case of Okazaki-san's, I had empathy for him, and yes, he has a certain logic. But in reality, Okazaki-san was very angry. He always told me I had an attitude, I didn't have the right attitude, and he also was like, you're not living your life correctly. So he was, and he also wanted me to refer to him as sensei or professor, which then would lead to a student-teacher relationship, and I knew that was not acceptable as a documentarian. And Okazaki-san did not like that. And because he was always saying, keep shooting me, take everything, that I'm doing. So behind the scenes, there was quite a battle between myself and Okazaki-san.
Interesting. Do you think, it was a stupid question, but I'll ask it anyway. Was he encouraged in his behavior by the presence of cameras?
映画を見て今なら冷静に分かるんですが、この映画はですね、奥崎さんは、天皇制に対して天皇制が間違ってるんだと、その天皇制を壊すためにいろいろ考えるわけですね。で、その天皇制という世の中のシステムを変えようとして、でそのために新しい宗教を自分が作ると言い出します。その新しい宗教の神様になりたかった人なんですよね、大崎さんはね。で、自分がその神様になりたかった人だから、その神様になれる、なんていうか、多くの人から神様になれる人だっていうふうに尊敬されたいという気持ちがとても強いわけです。だからその一環として私も奥崎さんのことを先生と呼べば奥崎さんは納得するんですが、つまりその先生、偉い人に、だから偉い人を批判してますよ、映画の中でね。つまり偉い人になりたいという気はとても強かったわけですが、その偉い人になるために自分は神君平等兵と名乗ったと。映画の中で神様の軍隊ですよね。神様の軍隊の平等兵を名乗って彼はこの映画の中で一貫して行動していると。つまり神君平等兵という、つまり庶民を幸せにする、なんて言います、 宗教の彼は神様の中だったわけだから、そのようにこの映画の中で行動して見せると。で、それがつまりこの映画から学んだ、私がずっと今も考えてますが、奥崎さんの演技という形でこの映画の中で絶えず彼はカメラの前に演技をしていると。その記録なんです、これはね。で、演技をすることは奥崎さんのパワーになっていると、そういう構造だと思います。
So, Okazaki-san, just to back up a little bit, as you mentioned before, wanted to destroy the whole structure of the emperor. And just as a reminder, the emperor had religious grounds, and he was seen as a god until the end of the war, just as a refresher for everyone. And so he wanted to change that system, and how he wanted to do that was to create a new religion and put himself as the god of that religion. Yeah, and
Modest.
yeah, and he wanted the respect of the people, and he wanted that strength. So again, if I had recognized him as a teacher or a sensei, that was, he would have been very happy, but that's something I avoided. And so he wanted to be someone that everyone looked up to, and his way of getting there was to say that he is the soldier of the emperor's army. That's how he put it. That's how he labeled himself. So when the camera's rolling, I saw it as, especially when I look back on it now, he's been gone for a little while, and really seeing it with fresh eyes. What was captured is really his performance. The original question is whether it stimulated his personality and his actions. It was more of a performance from him, and that's what I really remember strongly.
And clearly he did, correct me if I'm wrong, see himself as an agent of God.
Yes.
What was a somewhat dangerous proposition?
It can be very dangerous, this potential.
I also love how everybody is constantly apologizing to everybody. I don't think that goes on in this culture. Recriminations, anger, but very little apologizing. It's striking.
これが、アメリカで一番最初に上映されたのはニューヨークなんですよね。ニューヨークで、ニューディレクターズ・ニューフィルムズっていう、映画祭があって、そこで初めて上映されたんですよね。で、その時の確かニューヨーク・タイムズっていう新聞がありまして、そこのですね、神風ドキュメンタリーだって表現されてましたよね。だから、全く奥崎さんっていうのは神風の特攻隊みたいな人ですよね。映画が完成したのは1987年ですから、88年くらいだったと思います。
So the documentary was first screened in the States, in New York, and a New Director, New Films series back in '88. And at that time, the New York Times wrote an article, and their big splashy headline was, it's a kamikaze documentary. Although Okazaki-san wasn't a kamikaze pilot, he definitely had that ambition.
だから、なんていうんでしょうかね、そ それまでの映画の中に出てくる日本人、海外で作られた作品、アメリカ映画にも日本人という設定で描かれる日本人というのは英語も話せない、わからない、ただ頭を下げる。それで相手の言葉がわからなくていつもニコニコしているというステレオタイプの日本人像というものをですね、この映画がですね、全部明かした。こんな日本人いるのか、多分世界が驚いたんだというふうには、今から思うとそういう理解ができます。
And when I think back on this now, at that time, so in the mid-late 80s, generally the impression of the Japanese overseas was that, Japanese don't speak English, they're always bowing, they may not know what you're saying, but they're always smiling. But after this documentary came out, those stereotypes, I think, were really broken when I think about it.
You think Mr. Okazaki was right in knowing that commanding officers were killing privates because they were hungry and they wanted to eat their flesh? Knowing this, I'm wondering, does it make the world a better place?
それが難しいね。
That's the million-dollar question.
少なくとも日本の政治状況を言いますと、こういうタイプの権力に対して言いたいことを言う。で、それは権力から言わせれば不都合なことだから逮捕されるということもあり得るわけですね。で、そういうことを怖がらずにとにかく言って、そして行動を起こすという日本人はこの奥崎さん以後いなくなりましたからね。
And just so speaking from a Japanese political point of view, anyone who's very that vocal and really screaming against those in power, from the perspective of those in power, it's very uncomfortable. And I can say that, since Okazaki-san, there has been no one who's been around to really shout and yell and take action against what they feel is a higher power that's doing them wrong. So no one like Okazaki-san has reappeared since.
It's not just doing him wrong, but it's doing wrong with a capital W. It's a deeply ethical statement. We'll stand up against evil.
おっしゃる通り、日本の政治状況は、庶民、平民にとっては、とても良くなったっていうふうに思えないんですよね。奥崎さん以後もどんどん庶民というものに対する締め付けが厳しくなっているという実感があります。で、奥崎さんだからこの時までは奥崎さんはですね、正しいことのためには暴力を問わないという考えを持っていた人も、なんていうか生きてる、なんていうかな、余裕がまだあったわけですね。そういう人を受け入れる余裕、時代が。だけども、この映画以降、締め付けが厳しくなって、そういう権力に抗うという生き方が受け入れがたくなってきてるわけですよね。で、その結果、なんていうんでしょうかね、時代は後退したっていう印象を持ってるわけです。だから私が作る映画もこういう私にとってはあれですよ、奥崎さんっていうのはアメリカ映画のなんだっけ、ジン・ハーフマンがやったフレンチコネクションの刑事になりますよね。みたいなもんなんですよ、実はね。 そういう気持ちとしてはそういう気持ちでこの映画を作ってるんですが、もうそういう人がいなくなっちゃった。で、じゃあどうするかって言ったら、あれですよね、一本も二本も交代しているところの私たち庶民の中から奥崎さんのように体制に抗う人が出てくれないと非常に困っちゃうわけですが、残念ながら奥崎さん以降の大きな政治の流れの中で体制に抗うっていう人が現れてるからとどんどんその権力に対して従順な人が日本の中では増えてきたんだなという実感があります、私の中に。
Yeah, so I feel that an average Japanese citizen today, they might feel that, oh, life is level and good, but compared to the past decades, it hasn't been. There's been more just tampering down on citizens over there in Japan. And when you look at the time when Okazaki-san was very active, he was even saying violence is okay, it's part of his toolbox. But it was also a time when people were accepting of it still. That they were still accepting that he can be violent. But since then, there has been less of that acceptance and also not fighting against, not fighting against the machine, the power. And I do feel like
we are.
Where do you get your food from?
Oh, what the heck? Okay, I think that's okay. Time now is 9:38 p.m. I'm on my street clothes. But I've been back at home for like 2.5 hours. So what happened? I woke up at 9. Yeah, I woke up at 9:50, and then at 10 a.m. there was a Zoom meeting, and I literally had the Zoom meeting on my phone while on bed. In theory, that sounds awesome. But no, it wasn't, because it's just me holding my phone up like this while waiting on my bed. And I want to lay down. I didn't turn on my camera. I did, turn on my microphone. I just look terrible. I can turn on my camera. There's a kind of intimacy. There's a kind of realness to, me showing up to Zoom in pajamas on my bed. But then, truth be told, I love being unprofessional. But there should be a line somewhere, a line should be drawn somewhere. Yeah, I turned my camera off the whole time. Some people had their camera off for a lot as well. But a lot of people joined in, like 9 people joined in, including me. There's Matt, there's Colin, there's Garrett, there's Tiger, there's Asir, Mustafa, and Elizabeth, who is trapped in London right now. Matt shows up also on his phone. A lot of people look like they just woke up. But yeah, there were discussions, but it was nothing of importance really. It's like, oh, have you made a logo yet? Not yet, but we'll get it done soon. How about the Instagram and the TikTok? Not yet, but we'll get it done soon. And the Zoom meeting goes on for until 10:40, and I'm like, I need to go back to sleep. So I just left. And at that point, there were 5 people left. So yeah, I just left, and then I went back to sleep. But I couldn't fall asleep now. I just laid on my bed until 11:40, and then I turned off my alarm, and I went back to bed for half an hour more, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'll be awake. So I woke up at around 12:20, and by then, Michelle was like, I'll be here in 12:50. So I literally woke up, I had some cereal, And then I left, but Michelle picked me up at around 1:10 because she's always late. She's always a bit late. So the idea is we'll catch the film at 3, but I want to have lunch outside, and she wants me to buy her matcha. And it's like, why do I want to buy you stuff? But then it's true that she's driving all the way to my place to pick me up. So it's a simple sign of gratitude. So we went over to the USC Village. She picked me up here. We went over to USC Village, parked, and then we went to Dulce, and I got her a matcha, myself a matcha, which is crazy because I already had matcha 2 days ago. And then I had a breakfast burrito. And then she's like, oh, I don't want to eat here. It's just, I don't feel like it. And I'm like, okay, why? And she's like, I just don't feel like it. Not here. And then she went to Kava, and I waited for her. She got her meal, and then we sat down and ate. She had a pita wrap, which is $17. My breakfast burrito is $10, and it was very filling. But I wasn't really that like yearning for matcha that much today. But yeah, we had the meal and we talked. There's a lot to catch up on because it feels like it's been a while since we've seen each other. Yeah, I mean the last time I saw her was Mulholland Drive, I think. So yeah, it's been a while, and by a while I mean like a couple months, so not that long anyways. But yeah, we talked, and then we're like, fuck, we're late. Because the screening is 3 p.m. at the Egyptian Theater, but by the time we finished our meal, it's like 2:20. And we went to the car park, we got the car, we went out, and by then it was 2:40. And it takes about 30 something minutes to arrive to Egyptian Theater, so we'll be late by like 10 minutes, and then there's traffic. And I guess it's because Michelle's tired, so Michelle drove really slowly. She's like, we'll make it, don't worry. So we're just stuck on traffic for a lot. And even if there's no traffic, she's still, you know, coasting along. So we were 45 minutes late. We were 45 minutes late to the screening, and by then Bill Hader already did his talk, and we're God knows how many minutes into the film already. We went in, and the guy was like, someone was like, okay, come in and we'll help you find seats. So we sat at the very, very side because the place is really packed. And we saw the film, and I really hate that I missed the first 20 minutes. It's not a good feeling. So going in, I was already kind of confused. And then I started falling asleep because I'm really tired, actually. It doesn't seem like it, but I actually am really tired. And then I was on the verge of falling asleep, but I never did. But I was on the verge. And then it kind of just ends, and I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of underwhelmed me. It wasn't a good experience. So yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it later. Like the first part, at least. But it's okay. It's a good documentary. I thought it's gonna blow my mind, but it kind of didn't. And then there's a talk between Errol Morris and Hara Kazuo, which is amazing, but wasn't that invested either. And that's it. And then we left, and then she drove me. She's like, where do you want to go? And I'm like, why not just go back home? And because my Wii order is delivered, and I don't want people to steal my shit, so I wanted to go home. And she's like, really? You want me to take you home? And I'm like, yeah. Where else do you want to go? And she's like, I have no idea. So I was like, well, let's just go home. I can show you my criterions. And she's like, oh yeah. So that's what we did. I took her to my place for the first time. It's crazy. I've lived here since July last year, and so that's 10 months-ish. And she's never been in my place. She's never been inside. So this is the first time she got in, and she didn't come to my room, thank God, because this room is a holy mess. But she stayed in the living room, and I just brought tons of Blu-rays down, and we just watched Criterions, and I just showcased her most of my Criterions and Blu-rays for about 2.5 hours. We just watched a bunch. We could have watched a whole feature film within those 2.5 hours. But we just watched a bunch, and it was great. Very fancy, very nice. Blu-rays are awesome. They really are. And then that's it. She just left. So I'm hungry. I'm going to go down and make some curry rice. And then it's going to be nice. Not much else. So I can't really wake up. I can't sleep in tomorrow either. I don't know when is the next possible time I can sleep in, actually. Maybe next. Oh no, I have no idea. Maybe next weekend. Yes. Tomorrow I can wake up a little late, but only a little bit. Because I need to head over to Santa Monica to watch Korean Katsi. And then on Monday, I can sleep until very late. Like, by very late, I mean like 2 p.m. at the latest. Actually, 1:30. Let's say 1. Which is really late, but I still have to set an alarm because Monday is ironically the hotel shoot, and I'm the director. And ironically, that is the day I get to rest in the morning. And then, yeah, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. So on and so forth. Friday, I have to go to Summer's End pickup day. Saturday is, I don't know why Giant isn't telling me anything. I think she just forgot. I think she, didn't like my stories. Is A, she's not close enough with me. And B, she, taps through them. She just speed runs through the stories. And she isn't texting me because she just forgot. The most plausible way of explaining her behavior towards me right now. Parsimony, I always overthink and I jump to weird conclusions. Like, oh, Pepper didn't respond to my message because she hates me now. Leslie, But, I'm just overthinking. Yeah. So anyways, there's that. Next Saturday, something's happening next Saturday. What is happening? Oh yeah, temple. Going to Sealai Temple. So I need to buy an ND filter, right now. And then so that's another shoot. And then Sunday, I have to see the Shrouds. And then that's next weekend. So next weekend. Yeah, because today's Saturday. So this weekend, next weekend, next weekend. Next weekend, then maybe I get to rest. But that's a big maybe. Because I feel like at that point, I'm so close to finals week. And I'm so close to the con date that I probably have something to do by then, I'd very much love to meet Jiayun and have coffee together or something. Play a film for her in my place. I don't know. I'm not that obsessed with her, but I still feel like if I think about her this much, and I've met tons of other girls, tons of other Asian girls, but Jiayun is the one I think about the most, then I should talk to her more. I guess that's just, I'm gonna let my mind naturally decide what to do. I'm not gonna let my soul decide. Okay. Here is me consciously saying I'm not that obsessed with her. But I'm gonna let my subconscious guide me. If I subconsciously want to speak to her more, then I should. If my subconscious isn't that interested anymore, then I'm just gonna roll with it. You know, it's not really my decision, it's just how I feel, and the way I feel depends on my subconsciousness, which is out of my conscious control. But say if my subconsciousness really, really loves someone, but then I consciously deny it, that's a conflict. That's like late March, early April with Leslie, but it's a good feeling though. With Pepper, subconsciously, I don't like her that much, but I thought I like her. And that's frustrating because I don't know how I feel. So this time I should just let my subconsciousness take the helm, you know? If I feel this way, then I feel this way. If I don't feel this way, then I don't feel this way. That makes a lot of sense, but for people like me, it's difficult because I constantly contradict with how I feel. What I want and how I feel is different, you know? Sometimes I feel bad about something, but I still do it because I think it's good for me. Sometimes I feel really good about something, but I'm trying to avoid it. You know. Also, I'm gonna buy the plane ticket tonight. It has to be tonight. There's no other choice. I'm flying Swiss Air. Michelle recommends Swiss Air. I just don't know when should I return. I know for sure that I'm flying 11th, coming at 12. Because return flights are tricky. If the flight is too early, it's bad. If the flight is too late, it's bad. I'd rather be too early than too late, though. Because my mom's question was, if it's too early, will I wake up in time? But, like, if I wake up early and then arrive at LA at around 4 p.m., that's good. I'd rather do that than leave late and then arrive at LA at around 11 p.m. I'm going to arrive at home and I'm going to stuck overnight washing my clothes and my pajamas, and it's going to suck, you know? I'd rather arrive at LA at 4 something p.m., put down my stuff, and then head over to Target and Trader Joe's and buy a bunch of food, come back home, have dinner, and then shower, laundry, settle down, and then sleep. I'd rather do that. Or not sleep because of jet lag, but then I will have time for rest. Unlike the beginning of round 4, where it's super late and I had to stay up all overnight because I need to do laundry and everything. And I just went to Target to buy new bedsheet, you know. I talked with Min, so I don't think I mentioned this, but 2 days ago, I think yesterday, I talked to Min about leaving, and Min was like, oh, I already got the ticket to leave on the 24th. But Min doesn't want to leave on the 24th. Min wants to leave on the 25th because he doesn't want to miss the closing ceremony. But because the villa is booked until the 24th, so he has no choice but to leave. Which is crazy. Like, just go solo then, like me. But he's like, oh, I already got the ticket to leave on the 24th. And I'm like, what? So there's no way. So at this point, I think I'll just stay at Nice for 2 more days. I think that's the most likely thing. Due to plane tickets reasons, but also I'm going to be so tired by the end of Cannes that on the 25th, I'll just chill. And then on the 26th, I'll travel. And then 27th, I leave. That makes the most sense to me, right? Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. Also, Colin and Garrett are leaving on the 25th to Switzerland, which means they're gonna have to stay 1 more night anyways of the 24th. Yeah, logistics. But yeah, my JoJo video is blowing up, so that's great. Super pumped about that. I don't have anything else to report. I'm feeling okay, actually. Like, Michelle's telling me all these crazy things because she's helping her dad. Her dad got sick, long story short, and her dad's finalizing some divorce stuff, but Michelle's stepmom is evil and greedy and loves money and is trying to scam her dad. So Michelle has to. She's the secret weapon. She's going through her dad's bank account and bank statements and trying to expose her stepmom. And she's been having a very stressful week. Mine is all stressful, but I feel like I'm in a very good place. Like, I feel like I'm striding towards success. I feel like I'm doing big things. I feel like I'm just going places, So, yeah. And yeah, I'm so glad I think I get to get really close to Colin with this trip. And also Matt. And also everyone else. But I think the fact that I also ran into Reggie last night was also really cool. His new characters keep popping up, And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have much else to say, really. Yeah.